What if the most important book in Jung's work was not a theory, but a confrontation? What if the Red Book is not meant to be understood, but to be endured? This book is often recommended as a starting point for reading Jung, but it rarely is. For many readers, the Red Book only begins to make sense after years of Jungian thought. Reading it later, one realizes something unsettling. This book feels like the center from which everything else emerged. Much like Nietzsche's Thus Spoke Zarathustra, the Red Book is not an explanation, it is a source. Eastern and Indian philosophy are deeply present throughout the book, not as references, but as ways of thinking. When Jung speaks of the collective unconscious, he often addresses the reader in the second person. You. This form of address echoes Eastern philosophical traditions, where truth is not taught but experienced from within. Jung repeatedly points toward chaos, not as something to avoid, but as something to face. This gesture is impossible to miss as a response to Nietzsche. In his seminars on Nietzsche, Jung openly acknowledges both admiration and fear. The Red Book carries that tension. Many passages feel like a direct personal answer to Nietzsche, sometimes critical, sometimes strangely intimate. This book is not a scientific text. It is closer to a work of art. By embracing intuition and irrationality, Jung pushes psychoanalysis beyond its theoretical limits. Here, psychoanalysis meets a philosophy of life. What was once clinical becomes existential. In the first part of the book, Jung descends into his own soul. He discovers a psyche that cannot be separated from time. This descent is narrated through myth. Figures like the devil, the serpent, Salome, and Elijah appear not as symbols to decode, but as presences to encounter. In the second part, Jung encounters a woman who leads him toward wisdom. The journey continues through a forest and toward a castle. The feminine guide and the archetype of the castle become central images of Jung's existential crisis. This is not theory. This is lived experience rendered in myth. Perhaps the most disturbing insight of the Red Book is how distant we are from ourselves. The closer one gets, the deeper the abyss appears. And that distance can drive a person mad. Which philosopher, after all, has survived the journey toward the self? Unscathed, the Red Book does not offer comfort. It offers a path, but it is a dangerous one. Approach it slowly. And if you choose to walk toward yourself, do not expect to return unchanged.